We'll get this bad boy recording here. First of all, I'd like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas, because I'm going to get going on today's lesson and lose track of time like I always do. Get your math vitamins ready. I think if I say that, there will be no problems. This is the nice thing about this one is you don't need any technology. You don't need any websites. You really don't need the calculator very much either. Straightforward algebra. So that part about it's nice. I'll say a couple of things before I get started. Get my overhead up here. So with, the quizzes and the way they work. Let's say you get 35 out of 35 and 7 out of 10. So on the spiral, would be a spiral grade. If you're going to choose to do it, remember it's optional. So right now we only have 2 grades and everything is weighed equally. So each quiz that you take, all the spiral grades only go into that one grade. So there's going to be 6 or 7 of them by the end of actually 8 of them, because there's 8 quizzes that will average together in this one standard. So if you don't get a 10 out of 10, you should retake that part of it on the retake. So there's 2 parts to every retake, the spiral part if you did it, and then the main part. So just know that so if you had this is a B on your overall grade because it's weighing these the same. Just so you know that. If you decide to do spiral, which you should, because I think it benefits you in the end, retake it if you don't get 100%. Make sure you learn what you did wrong before you race to a retake. Ask me or whatever you need to do before you do that. Some of you still need to do your quiz, so please don't put that off. Get it done. I'm going to be nice about extending time because people have technology issues. So I switched cameras first hour and my voice went out halfway through the lecture. So I'm going to have to put this recording up for my first hour children. So I understand technology issues. It happens. All right. So on this next little unit here, you have this in your trusty little packets. I've highlighted this, but the best thing to do instead of like reading this to you is just literally start some problems and show you what's going on with this. And it's a step-by-step process. Again, you always hear me say this, don't deviate from anything. The only thing you can deviate from is you can abbreviate the word translations and you can abbreviate the word substitutions. And so there's these little T tables, I call them. So that's how you can abbreviate them. I've done all of these problems in this packet on the videos. Okay, so you're welcome to get into those and look at them. I encourage you to do that. So here's what's going on. I'll get this little note card out here. So this is just the most basic explanation. So let's say we're going to take a graph and slide it 3 units to the right. So that means a point at 2, 2 if on a particular graph. So we'll say y equals x is going to go to the point 5, 2. Common sense. And here's how we can describe that. But the equation becomes y equals x minus 3. And so in order to create the same y value, you need to compensate this by putting in what's called the inverse expression. So in other words, to create a y value of 2 again, x would have to be 5. And that's the idea with these little tables is we're going to write these translations down, which aren't too hard to do once you get the feel for it. So 3 units to the right, there we go. That's what that means. And then you're going to figure out the inverse expression and you're going to write it on the right side. We're going to do this whole table out first before we go to our work over here. So these are labor intensive. Get ready. Get your math vitamins going. And you don't need any technology. So it's kind of the opposite of our last quiz. 4 units down. So that's in the Y direction. So if you're getting confused with any of the vocabulary, I guess you could come back here. Okay, horizontal left or right, vertical up or down. The stuff I have highlighted is really good to read if you get confused. So this would be Y plus 4 in for Y. Now here's the deal. As we start doing these substitutions, if it's on the X side, you have to simplify. And so that could involve a number of things. That could involve like a distributed property or the FOIL process, or sometimes just raising something to a power, or as simple as just adding numbers. And if you substitute it on the Y side, you have to solve for Y after every one of these steps. Okay, but we have a third one, a vertical stretch. So a vertical stretch by a factor of 4. Vertical is Y, and when you see factor, that's multiplication. So when you do your little translation notation, whatever that by a factor, whatever, that's multiplication. And so now we do the inverse of 4Y, which is 1/4 Y. Okay, so you're just basically changing the sign when it's translation, sliding left and right, up and down. And when it's stretching or compressing, you're taking the reciprocal and then substituting in. Now we are ready to do this. So we're halfway done. And this is, like I said, this is going to be, take your math vitamins, get ready. This is actually probably a little bit easier of a problem. That's number 1. All right, so x minus 3 is going to go in for x. We're going to use parentheses. And then you're going to simplify as much as possible. Well, this becomes 3x minus 9 minus 2 minus 11. That's step 1. Step 2, y plus 4 will go in for y. And then we have to solve for y. So subtract 4 over, that's 3x minus 15. Now, so make sure you're reading over here. This is done now. We only write this down so we can figure this out. So you might, want to start, I'm not looking at that. Okay, we're looking at the substitution. So 1/4 y in for y. And now we got to solve for y. So in solving for y here, this involves multiplying everything by 4, left to right. All right, so that is 12x minus 60. And that is the final answer. So very algebra-ish, very little need for technology whatsoever, maybe other than watching the videos. And like I said, I did all of these on the video. So what you should do is just practice as much as you need to. Going through more, than fewer is better, as many as you can, and stop the video, practice, start the video up, check it out. All right, so problem 2. I think I can get through 3 of these. That's what I did first hour, but I lost my sound. I think I know why, but all right, so reflect across the x-axis. So when that happens, you're just going to put across x. And what to know, when there's a reflection across x or y, you replace the other variable with the negative. So x-axis reflection, y with negative y, y-axis x with negative x, and simplify or solve for y. So negative y is going to go in for y. It's the opposite variable. And then the opposite goes in. Okay, stretch horizontally by a factor of 3. So this is going to be a multiply one. Horizontally means it's x. So x would go to 3x. That's what that means. So we're going to put 1/3 x in for x and simplify after that. And then number 3, and translate 4 units to the right. So x minus 4 will go in for x. And remember, we're done with that now. Don't get confused and look back at that. We're focused here. This is what's going to get substituted in to the main equation. Okay, so negative y in for y, and then solve. Well, that just means moving the negative across. 1/3 x in for x and simplify. Well, there's nothing we can do to simplify. Throw the x out, put 1/3 x. And then x minus 4 in for x, using a set of parentheses. So I would typically let people be good there. What you should do is multiply it through. So apply the distributive property if at all possible. And then that is your new equation. Now, if you can get this next problem, you're good, because it's literally everything in a single problem. There's a FOIL product going on and all kinds of stuff. So you can, when you do this, abbreviate T and S if you want, would be even good enough. So reflect across the y-axis. So across y, and that's going to mean we put in negative x for x. Number 2, translate 3 units right and 4 units down. Okay, so x minus 3, it gets put in for x, and then y plus 4 gets put in for y. Followed by a horizontal compression, so that's x, by a factor of 1/2. So that reciprocal is 2. And then we're done here. Okay, so we got to do all of this to this. Which is going to be a little bit of work because of all the x substitutions. Notice the right side's a quadratic, and that's, you got work to do. All right, so negative x in for x in the first one. And then simplify. So whenever you go on the x side, you have to simplify. Well, what is the simplification? So negative x squared is x squared, negative x times negative x. So that negative just squares out of there. Now, when you have 2 successive translations in a row, you actually can do them together. So y plus 4 goes in for y, and then x minus 3 goes in for x, and that's going to create the work for the day. Literally, yeah, now we got lots of work to do to simplify this. So I did these together. That's allowable. But now we've got the FOIL product to do over here, and we got to multiply -5 through, combine all these terms, and then subtract 4 over. And then 2x in for x. All right, so let's do that. So x minus 3 times x minus 3, that's what you have to see. So that's going to be x squared minus 6x plus 9. I'm going to do that, the outer plus inner in my head right away. And then I'm going to run the -5 throughout here, plus 15 minus 3. All right, so now we got to subtract the 4 over. So what we have is all of this, the 2's got to get multiplied in here. So we've got minus 12x minus 5x makes minus 17x. This is where you need to work slow. 2 times 9 is 18. Plus 15 is 33. Minus 3 is 30. And then we need to take the 4 over, which makes plus 26. So there's a lot of work, a lot of careful work that you have to do in ones that you really, where these steps get to be a lot. Now, I'm not going to put anything this long on the quiz. You need to know that. The quiz is simple compared to the work. And we're not done yet. So we have to put in 2x for x, and then we'll be done. Okay, so 8x squared minus 34x plus 26. So 2x times 2x, 4x squared times the 2. And that is the final answer for this. There's only 2 on, oh, there's 3. Okay, so you can just do this. Remember translation substitution. So translate it 5 units up. So y minus 5 for y. And then vertical compression by a factor of 1/3. So this is y again. So 3y for y. A lot of solving for y on this. And a horizontal stretching by a factor of 2. So 1/2 x or x. Then we're done here. Focus on this. All right, so we start with this. Don't worry about the function, just go with the flow is the best I can tell you. So y minus 5 in for y, and then you got to solve for y. Whenever you replace for y, you have to solve for y, so that's plus 5. 3y for y, and then we got to solve for y. So how is this going to be done? Well, you are multiplying by 1/3 left to right. And all of this is in the video of all these problems. So 1/3 times x minus 3 plus 5/3. That's solving for y. Try to avoid, dividing the whole thing by 3. You can do that. It's not wrong. I would accept it. And then last one, 1/2 x in for x, and try to simplify, which there's not going to be any simplification. So you can have this, or you could have the whole thing divided by, let me see if I can write that. You can have all of that divided by 3. Either way will work. All right, it's 9:08. I think I need to be done. Again, this video will be posted for you to look at, but just look at the video and the learning plan because I go through all of these. And really, this is the same as the 3rd assignment. It's just that you're getting the translations by looking at the graph is all. And then the middle video is just, the middle assignment is practicing all this algebra. All right, so hopefully I get to see you face-to-face in January, although I'm not counting on that. So if you still need to get your quiz done, please do that, and have a Merry Christmas. And we'll see you back here after break.